as you've moved and evolved from a frontline leader to a senior leader, what have you noticed about the differences between the two? Between the skills and things that a frontline manager has to worry about versus a senior leader, an SVP, and someone in a position like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely differences. I mean, one of the big things, I talked about this with my team recently, actually. The higher up you get, you're always selling, right? So don't ever forget that. You're always selling. The difference is I sell internally a lot, right? A lot, right? So working on budgets, working on quotas, right? Working on those types of things. Product, what do I need to get from product support? What do I need to get from marketing support? I'm always advocating for my team, and I'm always selling what we need to do to get the resources we need to be successful, right? Positioning the team and those types of things. So obviously you're not doing as much of that at the front line, right? Front line is you're looking at the pipe, you're working with your reps, you're helping them grow and expand and the coaching and all that. But the coaching doesn't stop, right? You still have your one-on-ones every week and you still do all those basics, I think, regardless of the level you are at the company. But you also, from my perspective, is much more about, I need to understand what's happening in the industry and the world and be able to sit down when I get called into an executive meeting and a meeting with a CFO of a Fortune 1000 company. I need to know what they're concerned about, right? And they're looking to me as an expert in this space. And I need to be able to talk to them about, what is the impact with, tariffs coming out, right? And how do we see that impacting some of similar companies in a similar industry, right? What are the pain points that a utility is facing versus a manufacturing company, right? And they're looking for me for that guidance based on the fact that we talk to a lot of companies, right? So you really need to be an expert in your space, you need to be an expert in the industries, and you need to be a business person, much more so than a tactical salesperson.
Yeah, I think about a lot of the machinations, going through like for a SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
And I think over the years, and what I always remember is the real transactional leaders, like people just worried about deals.
Yeah.
Even at the senior level,
Yeah.
it would always be, the SWOT would always be really transactional.
Yes.
The people who thought more high level, more strategically, really put time into thinking about, the strengths and weaknesses, but also the external opportunities and threats. Where can we take share? Where can we eat our competition's lunch? Where's our six vulnerable? Type of thing. But yeah, and I guess it leads to a question. When you're looking, when you're speaking with frontline leaders and you're evaluating them and observing them, what are the things that they're doing? What's an example of something that a frontline leader is doing that impresses you and makes you think this person could be wired for something bigger down the road?
Not being a super rep. So it's
Tell me more.
not doing what they are doing, right? You need to enable your team, right? And enabling your team is not doing that job, right? A super rep, you see so many times from new managers where they come in and they were probably one of the best reps before. That's why they got promoted. But that doesn't mean that you need to go in and run the deals for your team. You need to enable and empower them and give them the resources and the air cover, whatever you want to look at it, to have them go out and grow and learn, right? No senior rep wants to have the manager run deals for them, right? They want to be the quarterback. They want to be the lead point. And then you pull in your resources where needed, of course. I'm not saying you don't get into the deals. We all get into the deals at any level, CVO down, right? But there's a difference between supporting your team and running it for your team, right? The managers that do the best job, understand that they're there to support that team and know where they are in the sales cycle. Because sometimes, frankly, let's be true, right? We need to play a level down for where we are, right? Sometimes that manager has to become the rep. You have a brand new rep on the account, whatever the case might be, you have to play that role. But now that means your VP is now the manager and your SVP is now your VP, right? Everything needs to shift down a level so you get proper alignment with the account too.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you're on a call with a rep, let's say, I heard the phrase, save the deal, not the rep. If the rep's just struggling to get through it, let him struggle.
Yeah.
That's okay. If it's putting the relationship at risk or the deal, then you may have to jump in and do something a little bit. Of course.
But there's a big difference between that supporting the rep, right, versus being a super rep. A super rep is doing that all the time for all of their deals. You need to be selective. And of course, if there's big, large rocks that we need to move, or relationship challenges that we need to get, different alignments, that's strategy. The big difference between being a strategic manager and that super rep, as I call it.
I interviewed yesterday, and they're telling a story about, they were talking to a CEO and trying to understand what the go-to-market strategy was, or the success strategy. And the CEO was like, yeah, I have 7 reps around the country, and what they're chartered with is going and bringing all the deals to me. Right. It's like,
We call those BD.
wait, that's your, that's your strategy, as a CEO, the founder, like, talk, not scalable, right?